time for another episode of The Oil Stream with Dustin Nielsen and Tom Gazzola, presented by Popeye's Louisiana Kitchen.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? And welcome to a Tuesday episode of The Oil Stream. Had to bang it out Tuesday. I've got some stuff going on Wednesday. Tommy's got some World Junior stuff Wednesday. And we didn't want to jam them back-to-back Thursday, Friday. Plus, I think I'm flying to Regina on Thursday, so that might be tough anyway. So anyway, Tuesday just really worked out. And apparently Tuesday is super nice golf shirt day on The Oil Stream. Tommy, I must say, that's a nice-looking shirt, buddy.
You like that one.
I love it.
This is one that I think there's only one of them in the world that exists, to be honest with you.
Come on, a one of one?
I mean, I don't think a lot of them have this and a tag
true.
on the back that says Dustin Johnson. So him and I were the same size, evidently, and I was the beneficiary of him being dropped by RBC. I have a bunch of these shirts. I was nice enough to give out a couple as gifts, and I kept a couple for myself.
Perfect. Well, it looks great. And boy, it would be tough if you spilled some delicious sauce on that shirt, that delicious sauce from the Juicy Nugs at Popeye's Louisiana Kitchen. 2 locations opening up right away, including one at West Edmonton Mall. You can go get your hands on some of those delicious nugs. And maybe you got to tuck a napkin right in there. Sometimes if I'm in a suit and I'm like having a dinner before I have to host something, I'll tuck the full, I'll say, screw it. I'll tuck the whole napkin in there. Because what's worse, look like an idiot for 10 minutes or look like an idiot all night with sauce on your jacket or shirt, Tommy, right?
Smart play, Dusty. And shout out to Kyle Furby, who I saw at the football game the other night. Had a good chat with him. So big thank you to him and Popeye's Louisiana Kitchen for sticking around and hanging with us for another.
Were you guys down in the seat area there, or did you just happen to bump into him somewhere?
No. So I was in my seats, and
and
then the lightning storm happened, and
yes.
I was like, hey, screw it. I'm going to the Directors Club.
Smart thinking.
I sat in there for the rest of the game, and Furby was in there, and among many other people, and my mom got to meet Gord Steinke, which was like a dream come true.
Must have made her life.
Can I tell a quick story?
Yes.
My dad, I'm like, do you want to meet Gord? Like, I had never met him in person, but we follow each other, and obviously I know who he is. And my mom's like, I want to meet him. I'm like, okay, I'll go and I'll bug him. And my dad's like, no, I don't need to. Come on, Tom. I don't need to do that. So finally, like, Gord's a busy guy. Everyone, and Tim Spellacy was there too, by the way.
Yeah.
And so people were all over Gord because he's retiring. And finally, I'm waiting. And then I go up to Gord. I'm like, hey, Gord, Tom Gazzola for TSN 1260. He's like, oh, yeah, hey, good to see you. Nice to meet you. I was like, my mom really wants to meet you. Is it okay if she gets a picture with you? And then my mom's like, hi, Gord, nice to meet you. I'm so sad that you are leaving Global. I watch you all the time. And he was really nice, and they were chatting. And then who sneaks in from the side like a little kid? None other than Renato Lorenzo Gazzola. And
no!
And he butters up to Gord. He's like, Gord, I'm really sad. I love watching you, and I remember you and Linda Steele, and my like almost interrupting my mom. And I was like, that is so rude, Renato. That is so rude. And then finally I took a bunch of pictures with them. So Gord was gracious enough to do so. And my mom and my dad had a very nice time meeting him. But my dad just, I don't need to meet him. No, what for? And then sure enough,
what a sneaky guy.
My mom gets 25 seconds with Gord, and then in comes Reno. Hey, Gord,
so did she even get a picture with him by herself?
Yeah.
Or she did? Okay.
No, they got him together.
Oh,
but,
okay, got it together.
Got what she wanted, and we took care of it. So
on my stag in Vegas, I don't know if I've told this story. I think I've told it on the show. I don't know if I've told it on this. On my stag in Vegas, it was the World Series of Poker, and Shannon Elizabeth from American Pie was playing. And I mean, who didn't have a massive crush on Shannon Elizabeth? So she was in the hallway, and we're kind of lurking around, and the boys were like, just ask for a picture. So I was like, hey, we've been drinking all day, whatever. I was just like, hey, Shannon, do you mind? I'm a huge fan. Can I get a picture with you before you go back to the table? And she's like, yeah. So I turn around. It's like my stag. It's my big moment. We're taking this picture, and my buddy Ryan slides in right next to me. He's got this greasy mustache, and he's in the picture. So now whenever I post that picture, I cut him out, and then he sends me like the full one. He goes, forgot about me. I was like, you bugger. That was my big moment. It would have been great. So yeah, Pitcher Seidler, man, the worst.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Anyway, Gord Steinke,
So
Shannon Elizabeth, same thing essentially. Yeah. All right. So once again, the Oil Stream is brought to you by Popeyes Louisiana Kitchen. Let's get into your Boston Pizza appetizer. And before we get into Sam Gagner, which we're going to get into here, a week tomorrow, we will be live, high noon, Capilano Boston Pizza, for a live taping of the Oil Stream. It's going to be very exciting. Hopefully you can swing by Capilano Boston Pizza. We'll be there probably around 11:15, 11:30, setting up equipment and stuff. You want to swing by and say hi, stick around. First 10 people to come up to me and say, hey Dusty, give me the goods, I'm going to buy you a beverage at lunchtime. So that'll be fun as well. You can come by, you can have some lunch, and you can watch Tommy and I babble on about the Edmonton Oilers, which is what everybody wants to do in late August, buddy.
Of course. And don't come up to me and say, give me the goods, because I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah. Just point them over to me.
Oh,
I'll take care of that business. All right.
I'm
so that's
kidding.
Make plans.
I'm kidding.
Wednesday, August 24th. Wednesday, August 24th, a week tomorrow, we will be at the Boston Pizza in Capilano, and we would love to see a few of you Oil Stream viewers and listeners, downloaders, however you consume it. Come on out and join us at Boston Pizza. I'm just looking forward to the lunch. I think it's going to be delicious. Yeah, I know.
Love that. I love that we're going on the road. I love this thing. This was if people don't know this, like you and I one day were golfing at the ranch. Yeah. And you're like, hey, I'm thinking of starting this thing called Oil Stream. You want to hop on every now and then? I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. This sounds cool. And then it's kind of evolved into what it is now. So to be on the cusp of our first live on location show is actually pretty cool. I'm very happy about it and proud of what we've been able to do on this show. And big thank you to everyone who tunes in. Yeah,
very excited. Another season, more growth coming, and it's gonna be fun. We're really looking forward to it. So, your Boston Pizza appetizer today, Sam Gagner. There seems to be some thought process here that Sam Gagner could come back to the Edmonton Oilers for a third time. I know a lot of people are just speculating, but Tommy, you check in on this. What's going on with Sam Gagner? What's the latest?
Yes, I did check in on Sam Gagner and the Oilers and the third stint with the Edmonton Oilers for Gagner and Dusty Nielsen. I can tell you this: there's definitely some legs to it, and this is a very real possibility of Sam Gagner rejoining the Oilers. It's not just a post of Oilers shirt on his workout equipment after a workout. It's more than that. So I've been told that this does have legs, and it's a very real possibility. So we could see Sam Gagner in Oilers colors again coming up in a few weeks. And whether or not it's a contract or a PTO, I wasn't told that, but he would be in the fold at camp potentially if it does come to fruition. And I can say that it's definitely something that has some validity and might be happening, could be happening. On top of that, I'll add in that part of the rationale for bringing in a Gagner, on top of the fact he's a veteran player, is how much he would add to the culture of the dressing room. Yeah.
Sam Gagner, and so there you go. Could very much be a possibility. There's a couple of different things. Let's start with the culture because you just brought it up, Tommy. And before I got busy with family and kids and stuff, I used to be down at that old barn quite a bit after games, going in the room and stuff. And Sam Gagner was here through some shit. Like it's just simple enough. And I remember going into that dressing room, and you were there. You worked for the team. You were there all the time. And you go in, and certain guys would be running to the back, and they wouldn't want to speak with the media. And I swear to God, it felt like it was every single game. Sam Gagner was sitting in that corner stall. You come in, I think he was over on the left. Maybe I'm wrong. Pretty sure he was down on the left, just past the way out. And Sam would just be sitting there, and he'd just be waiting for the questions every single time. And then we're talking loss after loss after loss after loss. And he just dealt with it, man. I was always, and he was great to just chat with in general, and great to have on the show and stuff, and just overall, really, really, really nice guy. But it always impressed me that, a lot of those young guys at the time didn't want anything to do with it. They didn't want to talk about the losing. And Gagner kind of was just almost like a self-appointed leader of that group, and he handled it. I always had the utmost respect for Sam when he was here because of that reason.
Me too. And he wasn't much older than those young guys.
No, he wasn't. That's the thing.
Consummate pro. His second go round here was pretty good, and unfortunately it helped the Oilers land Andreas Athanasiou, and we know how all of that devolved with COVID and the bubble and all that, but that was part of the price to Detroit is Sam Gagner, and he was actually having an okay year as a role player on the team when they traded him.
Yeah, he was.
Deal. He had 31 points last year. I don't know if he would make the team. I don't know if he's getting a contract. Like you said, they're cash strapped. We've talked about it a whole bunch, and I know we're going to talk about it some more. It could be a PTO. You know, they're going to have to make some moves to get in under the cap as well, but I know where the arguments against Sam Gagner are coming from. They don't want to get slower. They don't want to get softer.
Yeah, he's 33. Like, we get it.
Yeah, and I totally understand that. It's valid, but it's not, nothing's for certain. It's just there's smoke there, and it's a very real possibility he could be in the fold when we get to training camp in about a month and a bit here.
He makes that group as a group better. You're talking from like a team standpoint. And, you know, if he comes in on a PTO, he's not going to be expecting much anyway. If he manages to work his way in and get a deal and he's a 13th forward that can slide in and play fourth line for you, can play third line if you're in a pinch as well. You said, I mean, even on Detroit last year, it's like 13 goals, 31 points, was playing over 2 minutes a night on the penalty kill. So, you know, there's a serviceable bottom six guy there depending on the level that your bottom six is at. And we'll see how the others' bottom six looks heading into the season. But, yeah, Sam Gagner with just the shirt, I just like you guy, you know what's up. It was
sneaky.
Good. So yeah, we'll see.
Well
Sam
played.
Gagner, that's your Boston Pizza appetizer, and of course next week we will be live Capilano, August 24th, Capilano Boston Pizza location. Make sure you join us for our first ever on. It's a memorable moment. You want to be there. I remember when those guys did their first one. I was there having some delicious cactus cuts, you know, a Belgian moon. So that'd be good.
Yum.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, it should be good. All right, so we talked about it. I mean, if you can't even afford Sam Gagner on like a mil or less, you know, how are you going to afford everybody else? I had people texting to me on my show today saying, and you know, if you know, Stoff probably watches or listens to this. So, Stoff, if this is incorrect, feel free to text me for sure. But they said Stoff was talking about Phil Kessel, like 1.5 million would be the number for Kessel with the Oilers. They don't have that right now. Tommy, there seems like there's some desire to maybe make Phil Kessel an Edmonton Oiler. Does this eventually get to a spot where there is a trade pulled and you do have Phil Kessel at 1.5 and then maybe you get Sam Gagner at 800,000 and it just allows you to provide a little bit more depth, but you're basically having to bite the bullet and accept bare minimum on a deal because people know the situation you're in, or what?
Nothing's impossible.
Yeah.
I don't think it's likely still. I feel like our good friend Bob is just getting through the grind of some summer months, and maybe there's been some discussions about Kessel, but I don't feel like it's gone past that. Again, what I was told is there's nothing big in the works. I think Kessel would kind of fall under the big category. Would he be an improvement over some of the right wingers? Yes, I think so. I don't know if this works. I suppose it could be a possibility. I just feel like it's chatter for the sake of chatter, but I could be wrong. I really could be.
I think what's more likely is, you know, let's say Gagner and a PTO and another guy on a PTO, maybe 2 or 3 guys on PTOs. And you say, hey, here's one contract that we've got. It's essentially the league minimum. If you want to keep playing in the National Hockey League, earn it. And because I just don't know how else they make that work.
I would also ask too what Phil Kessel's interest in Edmonton might be, because you know, this is a guy that has enjoyed his time in Arizona, and not a lot of people can say that as competitive hockey players.
And he's already won, right? It's not like he's like, oh man, if I play with McDavid and Draisaitl, I could finally get my cup.
Yeah, his fire burns differently than most hockey players. Let's just put it that way, okay?
I'm gonna go back to. I remember I was getting very fired up about this back in the day. Phil Kessel should have won the Conn Smythe in one of those 2 cup runs. The one year he led them in scoring. He was phenomenal. And obviously Sidney got it because Crosby does what Crosby does, and it's Sidney bloody Crosby. But there was one year where I thought Phil Kessel was the MVP of their playoff run. Like, Warpig had some very good years. They're long behind him now, but man, he did put up some pretty good numbers. He was a good player.
He really did. And granted, that was like 5 and 6 years ago where they were winning those guys. I can't believe
a long time ago. Beyond that, 5-6 years, you're right. I remember the 2006 NHL draft was the very first one I covered for hockeysfuture.com at the time. And I went, and Phil Kessel was drafted that year, 5th overall. And that was like, you know how it is now. You cover a team, you go, you talk to just their guys. For the Hockey's Future, I was like in every single scrum, like multiple mics. I was moving around like crazy. And I remember the interview, the scrum around Phil Kessel when he was drafted. I mean, low talker for starters. Like I couldn't believe it. I was like, this dude can't get a sentence out. Like, what is going on with this guy? He was 18-year-old Phil Kessel at the time. I guess you see what he's become. But at the time, I was like, man, this dude is extremely awkward. And he ended up becoming a legend. But still, I remember sitting there and going like, what is the deal with this guy? It was something else.
So what? He likes to fire a few pork missiles into his belly before a game. Who gives a shit?
He is 1 goal away from 400. 1 goal away from 400. I mean, I'm going to throw this out there to you right now, Tom. No, I don't know. But 400 goals, 1,000 points, multiple Stanley Cups. Is there a possible Hall of Famer there in Phil Kessel?
I don't see why not. He's done it all. I mean, we're going to get to a point where we're going to run out of the surefire Hall of Famers, and we're going to be getting to the guys like Phil Kessel. We're like, geez, this guy.
He's got better numbers than some of these guys they already think they're going to put in. So
exactly.
God, would that be something? Drafted last in the All-Star game. Makes the Hall of Fame.
I hope to God they use his Olympic team photo from a few years ago because that thing is glorious.
Oh, man. Yeah, I might bring this up on my show tomorrow. It's the summer. I can have a Kessel Hall of Fame discussion. We can get through 4 hours tomorrow on that. Yeah,
absolutely.
That'd be fun. That'd be good. All right, so we've got that. Okay, and then the other thing that popped up, the Oilers yesterday tweeting out with the eyes emoji. What if we were to tell you that we're working on, something like Oil Change 2.0, obviously different time. Tommy, were you with the team the whole time during Oil Change season? Yeah. What was it like? Like, I mean, that documentary game has come a long way since they dropped Oil Change back in the day. Yeah. But what was it like covering the team when they were doing that?
It was good. The production crew, Don Metz headed it up, obviously, and Gord Riddell over at Aquila, and then Mike Bealey and Sergio Oliveras were the shooters for it, for the most part. And there was a few others that were in the mix too. Great crew to deal with. They got a lot of access, obviously. They bumped a lot of us out of certain things, and that's fine. I think they did as much as they could, and I'm good friends with the whole crew that worked on Oil Change. And I actually work with Mike Bealey on Bozone Live on Wild TV. Season 3 coming up in November. I'm going to be hosting again.
I love you doing Bozone Live. It's my favorite thing.
It's a fun show to do. Like, I am not a hunter, but I've learned so much. And Louis DeBruske's on it.
It's like me hosting a workout show. You know what I mean? Like,
yes. But Beals hired me, and like, these are really talented television people that had a wealth of experience and knowledge and a great vision. And having beers with Beals a few times, he's like, Tom, you don't understand all the great stuff that was left on the cutting room floor. He's like, Tambellini wanted everything cut, basically.
Yeah.
He was so afraid of everything. We had to follow what Kevin Lowe and them wanted, and we had to be very, very careful in particular. He's like, all the best stuff really didn't even make it to air. And he's like, one day I'm gonna have to find a way to show it to you. And I was like, you know what, Beals, if you do, that's great. But it's not that group that's doing it, from what I understand. I believe it is in-house Oilers TV. That's a big ask. I'm curious to see how it turns out. All of our crew that was there before are gone. So I'm sure they're going to bring in some consultants and some experts to help them with this. I genuinely don't care. I'm past this stuff. This is just my opinion. I know it's going to be devoured by the fan base, especially now with the way the team has changed over the years. But we're going to have to be force-fed to watch it, you and I, and we will.
If it's all team controlled, I really don't have much interest in it. Like, I think it'll be awesome for the fan base. Like, they'll love to see some of it. The things that make the documentaries that you really want to watch really good is that they show the drama. They show the stuff that would be controversial. If you're able to drop something like that, then it gets people talking. Like, and then on top of it, and I mean, if it's just like an in-house Oilers thing, I don't know how much more time they'll be taking of the guys. But I don't know if this team right now needs to be in a spot where they have to do extra interviews for the documentary when they should be focused on going after a Stanley Cup right now. Like it was different last time around. We didn't have many expectations for that team. There are a bunch of young guys who were growing. If in any way, shape, or form this becomes a distraction for this group, it's a horrible idea. So I mean, I'm kind of torn on it, to be honest with you. I know it'll be great for the fans, and a lot of fans will want it, and I totally get where fans are coming from. But I did have some people text in today and said, I don't know why they would do this right now. Like they're on the verge of taking that next step. You think you'd want to be 100% completely focused on that. So I don't know. It's interesting.
Well, Dusty, I'll say this, and to kind of defend OEG too a little bit, because there's some very talented and smart people over there that are going to be working on this. It's not like there aren't crews coming in, international crews coming in all the time and asking for special requests and all that. If this isn't that invasive, but it still gives you that behind the scenes access, it shouldn't be that much of a burden. And then on top of why they're doing it too, I've known about this for a while now, that this was in the works, and it's nice to see that they're going to launch it. Good for them. They've got some other projects that this might be a big part of, like added value content and extra features and stuff like that. So this might be something part of bigger platform that they're trying to introduce, that they've been working on for some time as well. So that might be the rationale as to why they're trying to do this oil change part 2 or whatever they're going to call it.
Oilers TV subscription-based content. Is that what we're getting here?
I think you're onto something.
It just seems like that's something that's coming, and a lot of organizations are going to be heading that way if they aren't already anyway. So certainly something to keep tabs on, no doubt about that. All right, boy, 22 minutes flies by in the summer when you really only have Sam Gagner to talk about. So it worked out pretty well, buddy.
That's great.
In fact,
I mean, we can't squeeze anything else in, can we?
No. I was just going to say, in fact, we've ran out of time, and we won't even be able to get to the Fogle haters today. We'll have to do that on Friday's episode, buddy, and we're coming for you. We're coming for you, all you Fogle haters out there. But in between now and then, make sure you're subscribed to the podcast. Well, Tommy, you do it. Go ahead. Do your thing here.
Yes, absolutely. Be sure to hit that like button, smash that subscribe button, and share with all your friends. We love doing this, and we need to make sure that algorithm understands that the love is mutual. So give us one of those.
We would appreciate it. We'll be back with another episode next Friday. As always, it's all brought to you by our great partners at Popeyes Louisiana Kitchen. And make sure you're watching next Wednesday, Boston Pizza, Capilano location. We will be live with the oil stream. We'll talk to you later in the week. Tommy, see you then, buddy.